Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We're going to be talking about Kringle Candle Melon Medley. Now, this is a 3-wick candle. I believe it's about 14 ounces of 100% colored soy wax. This was part of a collection that was launched alongside their most recent reserve collection. I want to say it was about a month ago now, back in early April. And there are 19 fragrances that were offered in this collection. Now, it caught all of us by a little bit off guard. A lot of us did not know that this was coming. We were kind of notified about it maybe a couple of days prior to the launch. And truthfully, it was a bit exciting for me because I do like the 3-wick format from Kringle. You guys know that I love burning soy wax. So I was definitely intrigued by quite a few fragrances. And making this purchase a little bit easier was the fact that of these 19 fragrances, they are offering bundled pricing, which means that they are 3 for $33, which brings it down to $11 each for these candles. Otherwise, individually, their price point is $24. So I would say if you are interested in any of these 3-wick candles, definitely try purchasing them in bundles of 3. So far, you guys, I have actually been pretty pleased with the performance, especially considering the price point on these candles. And we will talk about the specific performance of this candle. So far, I will give you a little bit of a spoiler alert of all of the candles that I've purchased. I purchased 6 to begin with. The strongest performing one is the candle that I've already done a dedicated review on, and you saw it in my empties last week. It was Grandma's Lemonade. That one so far has been the strongest performer for me. But yeah, they're all doing pretty well here for the most part. So we're going to go ahead and talk here about Melon Medley. Fragrance notes are watermelon, citrus, and vanilla sugar. Now, this candle that I'm reviewing has a pour date of March 13th, 2025. And I will just say, I've seen a couple of people bring up this question, so I will just address it really quickly. Some people have asked, do soy candles need to cure a little bit longer, like soy blend candles or paraffin ones? I will tell you, my personal experience with soy wax candles is that they don't need a ton of curing time. My Homeworks candles, yes, I do find that those get a little bit stronger the longer that they sit, but I haven't necessarily found that to be the case with Kringle candles. The only thing that I will say sometimes is that I have had a couple of candles of theirs sent to me in PR very quickly after a pour date, and I have found that sometimes when I light them up on the first burn, especially if it's only been like 2 weeks since they were poured, I do find sometimes that the fragrances, they kind of need to meld together a little bit on those first couple of burns to really get the essence of what I think the fragrance profile they are desiring to like come together. So those are just my thoughts. All right, you guys, I have been a little bit off track with my candle reviews so far this week. Normally I dive right into the reviews, but I've been a little bit wordy at the beginning and I'm sorry about that. Let's go ahead and talk about this candle in particular. So what does my nose detect? This fragrance to me, even though it has notes of watermelon, citrus, and vanilla sugar, there are pictures here of little melon balls. And you see in those melon balls, we see watermelon, we see cantaloupe, and we see honeydew. I'm going to tell you, while I do smell a little bit of watermelon in this candle, it is detectable watermelon. My nose also detects a bit of honeydew and cantaloupe in this. This is definitely not, say, watermelon pops from the Country Candle line, which is like straight up Jolly Rancher watermelon. It's very, very sweet. This is also not the minty melon candle that is in the new Reserve lineup. I do like that fragrance a lot, but that to me is specifically watermelon with a little bit of mint, and you get more of that like green watermelon rind. This to me has got a little bit of like sweetness to it. I think Melon Medley is a very appropriate name for it because, again, you do detect watermelon. This fragrance to me is not overly candied melon. And again, I think that's because I'm detecting honeydew and a little bit of cantaloupe in there, to be honest, which I love melons. So like I love melon fruit. So I think really what my nose is detecting is honeydew mixed with that watermelon. There's a little bit more of it's melon, but it's not as intensely sweet as, say, like a candied melon. That being said, it is still a little bit of a fruitier fragrance. It's just not overly artificially sugary. And I actually kind of appreciate that, because one of the things sometimes with a lot of melon fragrances is that they can come across very, very artificial if they're not done right. Now, some people love that, and that's totally fine. But me personally, I don't. The only time that I kind of like an artificial water is watermelon. I do like kind of like a really sweet Jolly Rancher watermelon, but otherwise, with the other ones, I find that this is it's just really good. I feel like this is just kind of like a little bit fresher take on a melon fragrance. There's no mint in there, even though I think we have like a mint leaf pictured back there. There's no mint in this candle at all. Vanilla sugar. Yeah, I could, again, see a little bit of sweetness in this, but this is not a candied melon scent to my nose. It's kind of just more of like a neutral melon scent. It's kind of fresh. Really, really well done. Kind of reminds me of kind of like fresh cut fruit with maybe a little bit of like sugar sprinkled on it. That's what I would detect. Citrus, they say, is in here. I don't detect a ton of citrus, but again, that might be lending to some natural sweetness in this candle. Overall, it's a nice fragrance. But let's go ahead and talk about the performance of this candle. Let's hopefully I don't burn my hand. So you can see the wax pool there is nice and deep. I've had this candle burning for about 2 hours now. Nice flames going on it. You know, it's not sooting. The wax is still very, very clean. I have been trimming the wicks just slightly. I'll go ahead and lift this up here in just a minute so that way you can see. The wicks do get a little bit of carbon residue at the end, but not too intense. But I do notice, especially on those first couple of burns, if you don't trim that little excess carbon off of the ends, they do spark a little bit upon lighting. So if that's something that you want to avoid, I would definitely probably, trim those wicks just a little bit, but don't trim them too short. Strength and throw on this one, I'm going to tell you, this is much lighter than the Grandma's Lemonade. This fragrance, I would give this one probably about a medium strength and throw. The Grandma's Lemonade was a powerhouse. I have another candle that I'm probably going to review next week for you guys that is part of this 3-wick collection that has also been pretty strong for me. But this one, I'm going to say, is more of like a medium fragrance. I would overall give this fragrance anywhere between a 5 and a 6 in terms of strength and throw. When I put it in a hurricane, like today, I've had it in a hurricane in my daughter's room, and it definitely fills up that space really, really nicely. It's very noticeable in there. But when I don't have it in a hurricane, it's kind of faintly detectable. Like it's there, I smell it. But again, this is not a fragrance that is going to smack you in the face, which I have talked about that personally, I don't want fragrances to smack me in the face. But also, if I'm saying that a candle doesn't smack me in the face, then it probably is. For those of you who like a very, very strong candle, you're probably going to think like, oh, that's probably going to be way too light for me. But what I will say is that, again, by nature, I don't think that the fragrance profile of this candle is designed to be something super, super strong. I think that this is designed to be a little bit more of like maybe like, I don't want to call it like a natural pleasant scent, because that makes it sound like everything else is artificial. But I just think it's probably more so of a byproduct of the fragrance oils that they're using or the fragrance profile. You know, it's not like a cinnamon or lemon even can be very, very potent. Certain fragrances are very bam in your face, and other ones are a little bit gentler. And I feel like that's probably where we are with this fragrance. It is detectable. I would recommend probably burning it in a hurricane if you want increased projection for it. But this is a fragrance that it just gets a little bit lost out in the open concept, but performs pretty well in my more closed concept rooms. So overall, you guys, here's what I'm going to say with this candle. It's not going to be a repurchase for me, even though I do like it. It's not anything that I feel like is so unique and just like I absolutely have to have it in my collection year in and year out. I do believe that this collection is limited edition, so I don't think that they're going to be repouring any of these candles when once they are sold out. However, if this fragrance intrigues you, if you have a more closed concept, smaller style of home or an apartment, and you like fragrances that are a little bit of, like I said, honeydew watermelon. For $11, I would say yes, go ahead and purchase it. Do not spend $24 on it. But if there's a couple of other 3 wicks that you're interested in and you want to get that bundled pricing, I also believe that that $11 price point still applies, say, if you get 4 or 5 candles. I think it's as long as you buy 3 candles, they are at that $11 price point. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that that is the way that it goes. Also, I do have a discount code with Kringle. It is Katie15. However, that does not apply to the bundled pricing or to at the time that I'm filming this, they are still running their Mother's Day sale, which is a buy one, get one. So it's like candles are 50% off. But the reason I always throw in my discount code there is in case you are wanting to save money on shipping, if you're wanting to purchase any reserve candles or maybe some of the 4-wick candles, you can still, it should still allow you to use my discount code for those full priced items. So I do always like to put that in there. It is an affiliate code eligible for a commission. So I please only use that if you're comfortable, but do always like to disclose that. And again, I did purchase this candle with my own money. This was not sent to me in PR. So overall, you guys, for the price point, this is a really good fragrance for this time of year, particularly in the month of May. I gravitate towards a lot of like fruity fragrances, and I think this is going to be a good one. I will finish burning this up. I will say that I feel like these 3 wicks do burn. They're not the wicks are not overly aggressively hot, but I do feel like I go through the wax on these candles a little bit faster than I typically do. So yeah, I don't know, but that could all just be part of my imagination. So let me know in the comment section down below if you have purchased this candle, what your burn experience has been with it. Have you purchased any of the other 3 wicks? What has your, what have you been enjoying about them? Do you think that the $11 is a fair price point? Yeah, it's probably a good time to purchase some if you're going to, if some pretty good sales going on. So let me know down below. Please hit thumbs up if you found this review helpful. Helps me out with the old YouTube algorithm. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.